Red flags, lies, gaslighting, and more. Your relationship is or was toxic. So now what do you do?
Well, today in CURES, we're diving into toxic relationship recovery with licensed therapist and trauma specialist Jamie Mahler, who is author of this book, Toxic Relationship Recovery. Jamie, thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You know, you have your social media accounts have had millions of views. I know in my own feed, I'm seeing people talk a lot more about narcissism, trauma, toxic relationships. What do we really need to understand to determine if you're in a toxic relationship, or maybe you're the one who's toxic?
Oh yeah, that's the tricky part. I think the book really looks to answer a lot of those questions, right? So people ask themselves, wait, am I the harmful one? Am I doing toxic traits? Am I the one that needs to wake up? Is it my partner, right? And the answer is pretty complex and nuanced, where there's a lot of different moving parts to these toxic dynamics. And I kind of point out, most of us want to kind of demonize the individual. We sometimes want to demonize ourselves, yet really what we want to look at is the traits, the dynamics, what's happening in the interchange between the two people, right? So that's what I would ask right away. I'd be like, look at the interchange, look at the way you're dialoguing. What do your conflicts look like? How do you resolve the conflicts? How do you not resolve the conflicts, right? So when people are really asking themselves, how do I even examine it? I say, look at those interchanges right there, and then you can really start getting those answers.
I was in a relationship and I was the toxic one, but I didn't realize it until I was way out of the relationship. Really? So is there hope for me for my next relationship?
There is so much hope. I tell people, listen, like I am very authentic, and I tell people, like, you know, if you guys ever listen to a memoir of me or something, I really did go through a lot of these behaviors myself. Like, these things are normalized for us. They really are. Hey, just forget about it. Hey, be passive aggressive. Hey, just pretend it doesn't exist. You know, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Don't fluff the feather, right? And what ends up happening is it's just a cycle, right? Nothing really gets resolved. People don't really catch it. The awareness drops. And then, yeah, we sometimes are like, oh, shoot, I didn't do that really in a really healthy way, right? So for people that might be in your situation, I would say, absolutely, this book is not written in a way that's going to attack anyone. It's going to be honestly, I look at it as a companion to understand these types of questions about yourself.
Well, I want to give Scott props to just the fact that he would say that I'm the toxic one would show a certain level of awareness that most probably toxic people don't have. Like, there's a lot of talk about what if it's the other way? How do you really know if what are maybe some of the biggest red flags that you got to get out of this person's a narcissist, or they're very toxic, they're really hurting you?
Sure, right. This is a spectrum. So in the book, I really try to actually capture the entire spectrum, right? So some people will be like, well, I never had to call the police, so they're not a toxic person. And I'm like, or they're not a toxic dynamic or whatever, right? And I try to tell people, I'm like, listen, consistency and proof in the pattern. Listen to the pattern. Look for the proof in the pattern of the dynamic, right? So when people are asking themselves, what is the thing to look for? What are the red flags? I would say, do you constantly feel devalued? Do you feel criticized? Do you feel attacked? Do you feel psychologically unsafe to navigate any emotion? You can't go to them if you're really happy. You can't go to them if you're really sad. You can't talk about your disappointment. You can't talk about emotions in a way that feels like you can flow and be seen and be heard, right? And so if someone's like, okay, well, what would that look like? That's where the spectrum comes in, right? Because some people could be like, well, the time I tried to tell them they hurt my feelings, they pushed me against a wall, right? That would be a higher spectrum. They're using physical violence. The things that would be on a spectrum that many people think they're not in are the ones where they're like, well, he or she, you know, we can do both genders. They're constantly humiliating me at a party, at my work party. Like, I have to expect it now. And I would be like, okay, everyone can have, you know, 1 or 2 bad days, but what you're telling me is your partner's a bully. They're bullying you, right? And what ends up happening is that looks, that's just a hard Friday night. It's not a big deal. And I go, it is a big deal because you're now scared to go to parties with your partner because they publicly humiliate you, right? So it's this spectrum of we really have to untangle all the ways we interact with each other. And we can really see those patterns coming out through this book. Yeah, you can see them in the book.
Well, I love that it's okay. The book is called Toxic Relationship Recovery. It's available on Amazon, wherever you want to get books. We're also going to be taking a deeper dive on the CURES podcast. So search for that on wherever you get your podcasts, CURES. You can also follow Jamie on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Search for Recollected Self and visit her website, recollectedself.com. She's had millions of views, and she's helping us all understand these toxic patterns. We're going to talk, especially in the podcast, how we can heal from this. So thank you so much for being with us. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jamie. All right, coming up on Monday's Great Day, Connecticut. After 34 trips around the globe, I can't believe it, the Amazing Race begins its milestone 35th season next week with fan favorite elements and new twists. We've got a sneak peek. Oh my God, I hope we're talking to Mr. Kogan. National Pancake Day is next week. Ooh, Chip's Family Restaurant is helping us celebrate with a bunch of delicious ways to dress up your breakfast. As if we need to dress up breakfast anymore, we're going to do it. Plus, our Great Day Fall Getaway. You're going to have another chance to win 4 tickets anywhere that Ovello Airlines flies. All that and so much more next Monday on Great Day, Connecticut. Kara Sunland's on Eyewitness News right now at 4. Take it away, Kara.